Alright, so we are back for the finals of the draft. This is a decent hand on the draw. We will keep this. A little rough that we don't have a black source, but there's 8 of them in the deck, so we're pretty favored to draw one. All green decks, I believe, we've played. Play at Plains and ship it on back. Alright, so Leaf Gilder, blue-green, pretty popular deck. It's pretty strong. Blue is quite open in the draft as well. We'll just run out of Plains and ship it back. We don't gain anything by playing a black source. This way we can at least play a spell if he prefers attack with the Leaf Gilder. Aeronaut of the aspiring variety. We'll probably just play the Nantuko Husk here. I mean, with the attacking flyers here, we don't really gain a ton, so if he does miss land number 4, it gives me incentive to want to wait at the Underworld the Leaf Gilder next turn. He's tanking on something here. You can still play a 4 here as well. Orchard Spirit's fine. We don't have any flyers, so well, we do now. So we'll attack. The reason being, if he just wants to trade the Nantuko Husk while we don't have anything else. I mean, a lot of the Nantuko Husk decks have something they want to sack, so yeah, it just doesn't decide to block there, which is fine. We still get to wait the Leaf Gilder, which I'm happy doing here. I'm playing the Stalwart Aven. I mean, we block his entire team at that point. Granted, he probably has something like a Claustrophobia. Hits land number 4, which is okay. This is the type of deck that we're playing against, so where I do wish we had a Suppression Bonds, just as a lot of the time the blue-green deck will have some sort of a fatty at the top end of their curve. He may even be hitting like a Rock Smaulers next turn or something like that. If we do draw the land, I don't even know if I even want to go right into the Heart Beast. Oh, a Jace, that's pretty. I'll let him know. Give him a little smiley face so he knows it's sincere. We can play 2 spells this turn. Yeah, smiley face back. You know, he got the sincerity of that. Get to play 2 spells in a turn, which is always nice. And if we draw the land now, I probably just want to Knightly Valor up the Stalwart Haven. One will go to block the 2, take 1, which is fine. Unfortunately, we don't hit the land. With not having a ton out, I just want to attack with the Nantuko here. At least still kind of pressure his life total to maybe we can get to a point where he has to block it, basically. I'm a little bummed that if we return Centaur, he just gets to get his Jace. Which I guess is going to make us self-mill, actually, here. But we can still Necromantic summon something out of our graveyard if we'd like as well at that point, so we'll just self-mill here. Fallen a little bit behind this game, definitely, but it happens, so. Is it other creatures or just creatures you control? I'm curious. It is creatures, so he'll get the buff as well. Soul Legion's pretty good for him here. Puts us in an awkward position with the Stalwart Haven. Granted, we do have like unholy summons and stuff like that. Or maybe it's not Unholy Hunger, sorry. Keep getting that. Necromantic summons are the same card. He's got a pretty good hand if he's pitching a turn to Frog. Pretty good buff there. Stalwart can't block, which makes us take 5, 10, 12. That's huge. theoretically he could even bring the whole team and force us into some awkward block situations, or as Jace survives, we kill the Elvish Mystic, lose the Anointer of Champions. I would probably just swing with the team if I were in his shoes here, but we'll see what he decides to do here. That will do it, actually. So yeah, we'll scoop him up to that. Could bring in grass, but we do want the Gold Forge Sentinel here. I don't know if there's anything we can like reasonably cut. Necromantic Summons may not be the best, but at the same time, if we're gonna mill him, we just need him not to hit his Jace at that point. So it's a bit of a wager, definitely. This hand is not remotely keepable. And this one isn't either, but we're not going to 5, so looks like, unfortunately, similar to the draft number 1, we will get to the finals and then have an unfortunate loss. But like I said, it happens. I didn't think the deck was all too hot based off our curve when we drafted it, but the colors were there. We had a couple good cards, double Unholy, double Knightly Valor, so and we could still definitely get there with a Knightly Valor in here. So like Gold Forge Sentinel into Knightly Valor. Granted, he does have Turn to Frog and stuff like that. So I mean, blue is a bad matchup for us in general, the way that this deck is created. I find it interesting that we see a black mana when we initially were only seeing blue-green. The old Sultai. Yeah, Water Courser's fine. He does have a 4 he wants to play, it would appear. So you get some flyers, but I guess Knightly Valor would be pretty good, because it would still be a 3/3 even if he does turn to Frog, because the enchantment grants the buff. So we'll bring just the demon. Let's see how he decides to block here. And if it's no blocks, we'll just immediately follow it up with Unholy Hunger. If he tries to block in like a tricky manner here, like with these two, let's say, we can have him sack one of them and basically get like a very good 2-for-1. So no blocks is fine. We'll just even do it before the damage happens. The best thing you could do is Sky Snare Spider, honestly. I would absolutely love to get either Celestial Flare or Unholy Hunger to hit that bad boy, but looks like he's got a little bit of a different plan going here. Oh wow, Stratus Walk up the Water Courser. So we might keep back. Nope, just bringing them all. Bringing the beats. Disperse the demon. We'll just do nothing in that case here, simply so we can Unholy Hunger. Probably the Water Courser at this point now. Still in a bit of a bind, definitely. There's always the thought of just attack with the Flyers, keep back the Bounding Crassus so that we can't block with the Priest, which is a very reasonable line here. So now we can summons back his guy as a 6/5 flyer. Which I think is where we want to be. This way we have good blocks across the board. We may end up having to Celestial Flare our own Priest, just so we don't die to it. Which is a bit of a bummer, but like I said when we drafted it, and I think even in the first round, it has a bit of downside that can be quite relevant, and this is definitely a situation where it's a bit relevant here. In a racing situation where we're already behind and putting ourselves behind and losing 2 life a turn from it. I don't think this is entirely where we want to be, so... Got a tank a little bit on it though, which is nice. Runs out the Jace. Okay, so he plays Jace, which is okay. We can still play 2 spells a turn and block everything. So I think we just attack with the Priest. Put a stop at our end combat so we can at least push some damage. Target ourselves. We need to play something that trades, so we'll go with the Blood Curse. Which gives us the ability to only take 1 this turn. If he alphas, which he won't alpha at this point because we're still ahead on board now. We need to get into a position where we cast 2 spells in the turn though, so like the Cold Blade plus something next turn would be ideal. But it's all kind of variant to the draw at this point, so very good chance we still lose this game, that's for sure. But only so much we can do to combat it. Our opponent is at 8, so I mean, we're not necessarily in the worst of spots, that's for sure. He's tanking at least, which is nice. And he's in a spot, like I said, where he can't alpha strike us unless he has like a bounce spell. Like if this is Separatist Void Mage, then we just lose. Possess Scab back. Is it Stratus Walk? No, the Water Courser, okay. Valor isn't terrible. Still need to draw something. But this will give us a nice buffer. So we could just double block with like the Guardian Automaton and Possessed Scab, or Bounding Crassus would be the two that he wants to. Probably the Possessed Scab and the Guardian Automaton, which is fine. We still go up to 11 at that point. Get the board a little bit more manageable. So 11 all on a board where we're not necessarily ahead, but we're definitely not behind now either, which is good. We've kind of put everything at parity. Our opponent has one card in hand pretty much. It's a fantastic time to have attacked if he had Alchemist File, because we simply just die if you know, we don't make an attack there, especially when we have the lifelinker like that. So he'll flip his Jace, give something -2/-0, probably the Knight, I would think here. But he still can't just alpha us, or he still dies to the crackback. Very much like to see like a 4-drop or less, which we still have quite a few in the deck, so. I guess last turn I should have actually attacked with the Demon and the Soul Blade. He's tapped out, so he couldn't have Disperse for the lifelinker. We gain enough life that he wouldn't be able to kill us on the crackback with the Knight in play. And then we force him to lose the Thopter and the Aspiring Aeronaut to put us in a position to win potentially even our next turn then. So I feel like that was a bit of a misplay on my part, I must say, but we can still start attacking slowly now. And if we attack with the Soul Blade next turn, which I'm a little more incentivized to do if we don't, we can still follow it up with the Goldforge Sentinel, block both of his flyers. I guess not block the flyers, we're fine taking 2, but we block the Bounding Crassus and the Watercourser. Demon on the Watercourser, Goldforge Sentinel on. Yeah, that's fine. So we'll go in for Eleanor. Eleanor. And probably no blocks. I also could have played the Cold Blade before, just in case he does block, we gain a little bit of a off of it. And then we'll run out Stalwart. Something like Bone Dash would have been pretty rough on us there, but not the end of the world, that's for sure. gotten quite a bit ahead. Oh wow, he just scoops to us there. That is fantastic. Absolutely fantastic. So in 2 games and quite a bit of his deck, we didn't see a Claustrophobia. I was just trying to think if we wanted the Enlightened aesthetic, but I don't think we do. So yeah, we'll go ahead and submit this, see if we can eke out a game 3 here. That sounds perfectly fine. Okay, so I'm probably like a Leaf Gilder, yeah. So we'll run out the Toppan. We could play like Water Courser, but then we just like get it. It looks like he's just, yeah, going right to the end. So we'll attack. I mean, we'll fire it off on the Leaf Gilder. It's actually significantly better. He can tap it if he wants, but it's already attacking at this point. Oh, okay, he's going to untap it, that makes sense. And then block with it. Nope, still goes with the Bounding Crassus. So I'll have you sack. So I don't think it's quite worth the bluff here. There's the possibility that our opponent just doesn't want to lose the Soul Blade, so much so to the point that we could attack with the Toppan Free Blade and represent something like a Enshrouding Mist, and he just wouldn't have any incentive to block it here. But we're not in the best of positions if we do that necessarily either here, so I would prefer just keep the Toppan, play a little bit more to the long game. We can Unholy Hunger the Soul Blade next turn too, so if he makes kind of an odd tap situation here to like play 2 creatures that are a little subpar, you know, we're not in a bad spot. So he can buff his team, that's fine. He'll hit us for quite a bit here, but I really don't think that's going to put us in a bad spot being at 12 and drawing a Toppan Freeblade next turn. I want to see where that scry went just so we know kind of what we'll be working with here. Bottomed it, okay. I was like, he's gotta go with the Leaf Gilder too. There can't be a 2. Apparently there is a 2-drop that he would rather play. Maybe he's like, I can get more damage if I just Titanic Growth now? Another Leaf Gilder, that's fine. I'm gonna get a scry. We'll top it. It still puts us in a position where we go Priest into Charging Griffin plus Toppan Freeblade in the same turn. Attacks would put us to 11 here, which isn't bad. Our opponent's deck's quite good. I don't think we're in a great spot, but I don't think we're like losing this game necessarily either here. Especially with a board of just like 2-1, 2-1, and a 1-1 now, so he's trying to draw to hit his 5th land, which he doesn't really need. I mean, with the 2 Leaf Gilders, he doesn't like need to hit that, so. But no attack there definitely gives us an advantage now. Yeah, I was gonna say, he inevitably has to hit his 5th land, but there's nothing really that costs 7 short of like a Mage Ring Responder, which would be absolutely terrifying. Ugh, that's pretty good. Yep, buy back your Soul Blade Djinn. Oh, you return Anchor to the Aether for the demon. Okay. I was like, what did he get? So if that's the case, we'll still just go attack here. Blocks are fine. Gives me a scry. Bottom that. Return Centaur. Since he's already played the Possessed Scab at this point, we're fine milling our opponent. He hasn't shown us Jace, so there's just as good an opportunity that we just mill the Jace if nothing else here. So, mill you. keep hitting F2, but it just wasn't doing anything. So he did have a claustrophobia. I'm glad we milled that versus hitting it. And then we'll run out Toppan. And we'll pass. And I'm okay trading the Toppan Freeblade because on the board that our opponent has at this point in time, I mean, of course he could just as well play a big creature, but yeah, the Anchor's got to be something that happens here. We get Scries at that point, which is pretty critical, especially when that's still in his bin. So he bought him his Scry, another Aspiring, which is okay. I mean, he'll poke us for 1 here, probably. A lot of guys on the ground, so we'll keep up the Return Centaur here. He may just let a couple things through. I mean, he may want to trade with the Toppan Freeblade, but yeah, he doesn't want to give me this prize, especially since we're ahead on cards, which totally understandable. But yeah, we'll just Necromantic summons back the best card in the bin, which is the same one as last game. We've got Spell Mastery, so it'll be huge. Easily position our blocks as well to where, you know, I know we're at 10 life at this point and need to find a way to get rid of the Blood Priest, but we're not going to take 8 this turn. Like, that's just something that's not going to happen. Maybe on the plan of just, let's try to just stall for 5 more turns and win off the Blood Priest, which is fine. So we'll go here. Attack here, here, here. Which is lethal damage, so he at least has to block somewhere. We need to make sure we do have blockers in this situation, is basically why we're keeping the knight back here. Yeah, he just doesn't want to give us the Scries if he can avoid it. keeping it on top is actually fine. I know we need to find a way to remove the Blood Priest, but he can't get damage through. Like, there's just no real way to do so. So in this spot, we just can suit up the Charging Griffin so that we're at least pushing damage, which buffs our team. And we have enough guys with Vigilance as well. And he scoops to it. Whoopee! So that was a very, very hard fought match. I'm even going to say good games, very well played. At least I would like to. Cool. So